This doesn't just apply to wives. I want to get that out of the way. I was talking to a female friend of mine about sailing, and she expressed some worries. But I'm not stereotyping here sometimes. It's the wife who wants to sail and the husband who kind of doesn't. Sometimes it's two women. Sometimes it's two men, two friends, brothers, sisters. The sailing dream doesn't really discriminate. Far too often, two people are sort of stuck together in a good way, and one of them wants to go sailing and the other one just doesn't. Today we're going to talk about it. So I've been dating a bit lately. It's been a year. I think I'm allowed to go looking around. And imagine for a second being on a first date with me. The guy who sold everything and jumped on a sailboat and went on this big adventure. The guy who races sailboats 2 or 3 nights a week. The guy who currently owns 5 boats, 3 of which are sailboats. The guy with the YouTube channel about, you guessed it. And now as a career, the guy who couldn't possibly find another line of work, but is the chief editor of Practical Sailor, because of course he is. It's a lot. I'm a lot, and I get that. And like most of the people I do consults with, whomever I end up marrying will likely, very likely, not have the same ridiculous passion for sailing that I do. And while we can't make this sailing bug of ours bite our spouses the same way it bit us, there are some things that we can do. And I'm gonna lead off with the concerns that my friend asked me about. Concern number 1, it sounds nice sailing, but when you turn, the boat leans over and gets very close to the water. Well, sort of. The heeling over thing, this one gets a lot of non-sailors, and as a kid, I remember being scared too. But understanding how a sailboat works might ease your mind a little bit. Picture a sailboat as sort of a round plastic tube sitting on the water, and it has giant sails on top of it. And of course, when the wind hits those big sails, the boat wants to fall down, naturally. But to counteract the sails, the boat has a keel. It's like a fin underwater that's made as heavy as humanly possible. So when the wind pushes the sails, the usually made of lead keel keeps the boat upright. It's a balancing act. But, and here's the key, the more the boat leans over, the less the sails are standing up into the wind, so the less wind hits them. Most sailboats have a point where the wind is of little to no effect on them anymore because they're leaning over too much and the keel is far too heavy. On my boat, that's about 18 degrees. It just goes that far, and no matter how hard the wind blows, it just won't go any further. I've been out on this boat in everything Mother Nature has to offer, and I can promise you, this is all she'll do. There's another thing to think about too. In the days of, let's say, a pirate ship, the sails really only worked well downwind, like parachutes. If the wind was behind you, away you go. But these new boats with triangular sails are a little bit more advanced than that. Sure, we can still sail pirate ship downwind, running the sails like big parachutes, but then they can only go as fast as the wind is blowing because you're sailing with it. If you go sideways to the wind and run the sails at a 45-degree angle, it shoots the boat forward. But remember the keel underneath. It's also shooting forward through the water, pushing the boat forward as well. It's like if you have a watermelon seed between your fingers and squeeze it. It shoots out from the pressure. Sailboats do the same thing with the wind on their sails like that. And yes, the wind hitting the side of the sails will make it lean over a bit, but the forces are actually being transferred into forward movement. The wind tries to push the boat sideways, and it shoots forward like the watermelon seed instead. It's actually pretty clever how these boats work. But the real healing, the real scary stuff, takes place upwind when we try to sail almost right into the wind. It's hard to understand how that works, but it does work. It seems impossible for a sailboat to sail into the wind, but we almost can. The boat needs to heel over and slice up into the wind for it to work. Think of pressing a butter knife into butter. And if you twist it a little bit as you press, it'll try to lay over on its side and it'll shoot forward very quickly and slice right through to the other side of the butter. That's what sailboats do with the wind. And the keel does it too. As it tries to slice up into the wind and get pushed a little bit sideways, it'll heel over and the boat will shoot forward. But there's an old saying, a gentleman never sails to weather. And that means he never sails into the wind. It's usually uncomfortable. And the videos or pictures you see on the internet of sailboats looking very uncomfortable, they're sailing into the wind. Sailing sideways to the wind or downwind is actually very peaceful and a wonderful experience of bliss and serenity. In fact, there's almost 3 sailboats in every marina called Serenity. Seriously, you can go check. Problem number 2 that my friend brought up. Okay, yes, I'll go sailing, but where are we going? What's the point? I honestly don't have an answer for this. Usually we're just sailing because we like sailing. I mean, why do you play baseball? It's fun. I love sailing, and not just because it's so easy to feel that serenity out there in the silence of the wind pushing you along, of the boat cutting through the water, the wind in your hair, the sun on your face. It's more than that somehow, though. It's also the art of the act. I'm making this happen. This boat, the engine is turned off. We're scooting along and we can make it go faster or slower. I can make it turn and tack and change directions, and I can sail in just about any direction I want. For free, even upwind, if I want to be uncomfortable. There's a magic to being good at something, to using the wind and water and sort of laws of nature to move about, to get from point A to point B, even if there's no particular point B in mind. I don't think I can give somebody that feeling. They either have it or they don't. They feel the freedom or they don't. The magic or no magic. But it's there. If you'll keep an open mind and go experience it, maybe alone. You don't have to go sailing with your significant other. You can go take lessons, or even better, buy a little laser and watch a couple YouTube videos on how it works, strap on a life jacket, and go do it. An important thing to understand about sailing is that it's fairly easy, much easier than like golf or other hobbies. Any idiot can make a sailboat move around and generally go in the direction they want it to go, even on their first day using it. The learning curve is not really steep. The first 75% of sailing really is that easy. The last 25%, though, takes a lifetime to learn, to make the boat move as efficiently as it possibly can. And most people honestly can't be bothered with all that. Go out, have fun, enjoy serenity. See if you can find the magic of making a boat move around all by yourself. Another thing, camping. And stay with me here. This can be a big draw about sailing, even if you don't like sailing. If you're the type of person who loves sleeping outdoors under the stars, sleeping on the ground, using those stupid little one-burner stoves in the morning.
Whoa!
Setting up a little home away from home with pillows and blankets and canned goods, then there is definitely something here for you. Most sailboats have a cabin that needs to be made a temporary home. Toilet paper and towels, cheap dishware. You can go nuts at the dollar store and get really creative here. Make it a comfortable little hideaway from normal life, just like camping. And the beauty of it is, because it's a sailboat, once you set it up, you don't have to take it all apart again. You just sail to the next beach or peaceful little anchorage and boom, camp is still set up. It's all still there. Though whatever you forgot to secure will probably be on the floor, but that's half the fun. As for where are we even going, that part, I get it. Sailing on the lake, I'm never really going anywhere. But sailing down in the islands, there are endless places to go. The next island, explore a little community where only 50 people live. The next beach, the next town, the next country. And if you get bored of the Caribbean somehow, the next sea. Over to the Mediterranean, Italy, Greece, visit Malta. It really never ends. And after that, Thailand, Japan, maybe the Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Madagascar. It's a sailboat. Where would you like to go? The mission here at Lady K Sailing is always to get more people sailing more easily. And I couldn't do it without the patrons, people who give a couple of bucks an episode to make this possible. If you'd like to help out, support this noble cause, please consider becoming a patron. Okay, and the last one she brought up. It's dangerous. It's scary. I see things on TV that scare me and people die. Yes, sure, it can be, but largely it doesn't have to be. If you just want to go lake sailing, great. Don't leave the dock unless the wind is appropriate for the boat. Know when too much is too much. If you're island hopping down in the Caribbean paradise, the same rules apply. Don't leave the protection of the beautiful little island that you've been exploring until the weather is right. You don't want to sail upwind anyway, so don't. Chill. Relax. Go snorkeling and check out the sea life. Go for a hike. Tan. Just enjoy paradise until the weather turns in your favor. What you see on TV, what you hear about, usually, almost always, was out in the middle of the ocean or a mistake made with the weather. 99% of sailors never cross an ocean and are rarely out of sight of land. And if we do make a crossing out of sight of land, we do it with 3 or 4 other boats, friends doing the same thing that we're doing. And when we get to our destination, we usually have dinner together. We usually go snorkeling and hiking. Good.
Oh, it's a cute puppy.
Who's that?
Yeah.
2 big boat race. I will get another.
My last point here, choose the right boat. Generally, the lighter boat, the more uncomfortable you'll be. Light boats are good for racing and sailing upwind. 2 things that you don't have to do. Talk to your significant other and share your concerns for discomfort and safety, and take a role in the boat buying process. Buy something heavy. If it has to be extremely comfortable and almost never heel over, buy an island packet. They're ridiculously comfortable. They're good at that. And insist on learning how to sail the boat too. You might find the serenity and freedom of it all and just might fall in love with it like we did. And this doesn't have to be a journey you just accept because you love some crazy sailor. There's a lot in this for everybody, and you just might find what we found. A little bit of yourself. Until next week, friends, keep the heavy side down, but not too far down. I love you guys.